It's the same old crap in the news. Yeah, 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 yeah. You join Jimmy Reefer, Cake, and Michael Dewitt on a Father's Day, if you choose. Michael Dewitt.
That was it. Awesome.
How are you doing, sir? Oh, it's good to have you, man. Yes. Having some fun. Jimmy Reefer Cake YouTube channel, a division of allthehypocrisy.com. And of course, All the Hypocrisy podcast is a product that is looming and ready to take over this entire space. Thanks to you, Michael.
Well, a little bit. I mean, I've only done a couple articles.
Yes, but the participation, and I'll bring that out in the front here. Allthehypocrisy.com is a forum to talk about hypocrisy and make fun, mostly make fun. You also can get angry. But we try.
I think that's really, like, I think I've learned that that's the thing that people need is some kind of like rage therapy.
Yes.
Where do they go to just like, and it's like wherever you can, I guess, just as long as you're not doing it in the street, I guess, where,
Yeah.
And if you're going to do that, you should at least be with a group of people. Then it looks a little more normal.
Amen. That's what I'm doing. That's part of the whole. I was thinking of one thing just to bring up is it, often it comes up like, why am you're Michael Dewitt. And that's who you are, right? Is that a writing name? What do you call it?
No, that's my real name. I usually do the Cool Cat thing because it started out as just like, it's pretty funny because at the time I was like, I was listening to a lot of rockabilly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there was like computers were made or like, social media. And I wanted to I couldn't think of a good user handle. I wanted something really cool and epic. But I wanted to get on at the same time. So I was like, Cool Cat. That sounds cool, right?
Right.
I put that on there and then that's it. The one thing you pick, if you don't change it within a week or two, that's it. You're stuck. So
yes, indeed. And I was saying I'm going off a different name, remaining let me make sure. Did you cut out?
No, I think
beautiful. Yeah, so I appreciate having a real person like you, and I am also a real person, but I'm a cartoon character,
for a picture, yeah.
and the reason I wish I could be my own self sometimes, but the reason I like to remain not anonymous, because I think most people who know me, everyone who knows me really well also knows Jimmy Reefer Cake is me, but not totally anonymous like that, but not totally linked to my name because I go I'll give myself the liberty to go insane as Jimmy Reefer Cake, if you know what I mean, to let it out.
Yeah.
Which, of course, doesn't. Somebody still would probably grab something I said and say that it was me and be like, "Yeah, the thought police are coming." But I don't think so. I don't think people care. But I guess that's why I did. And of course, the reefer being illegal, and of course the jobs, drug testings, and things of that nature is just that's where I'm stuck, man. But I like it. I mean, I appreciate you can hang out.
Well, the way I look at it is, if I'm not bad talking my work, right?
Yeah.
I'm given freedom. I should have a personal life, So
yes.
I don't mind going out there and posting something on Twitter or whatever. And then at the same time, I'm also not crazy. I think you've seen my posts.
Yes.
I'm not posting anything that's like,
you're reasonable.
Yeah. The thing about it is I live in a weird, unreasonable world. So I make more reasonable cases and not hyperbole or things that sound more crazy necessarily.
Yeah.
But shit, the world we live in is just fucking crazy.
Yes. And in the stuff. Yeah. I think you say things that are reasonable and that's good. I'm glad because there needs to be more people willing to friggin' just be themselves out there and also express politics. It seems like the politics is we know how it is. You can't really talk about it in certain crowds or areas of life. So
you got to feel it out. You have
yes.
to, I mean, if we're talking to, you know, an audience right now, and giving them like, you know, good advice or whatever, the thing would be, if you have whatever your opinions are, if they're crazy, you know, and I'll call it crazy right wing, you know, politics, though usually most people don't care. They actually like offending people and putting it in their face. But if you care about the environment you're in, you might want to kind of, you know, feel it out and see what people are thinking on their own, you know.
Yes.
And,
yeah.
Choose your words right or whatever. And you might end up, you know, learning that, hey, a lot of these people are actually on board with you. And when you have it, you know, here's the thing, and this is more, again, there was like a study that's like talking about how liberals talk versus how right-wingers, conservatives. Yeah, it's funny because I don't even like the word conservative, because it's not conservative to be out, you know, using profanities towards other people and races. That's really not conservative. That's just being racist. And racist shouldn't be equated with being conservative. But yeah, I think you have to choose your words, and you can disagree with somebody, but you have to be prepared to make that a slow process, you know?
Yeah. I kind of think, oh man, one thing I want to touch on, because it's Father's Day too, and like I gotta say, just in memory of a wonderful man who's passed away, my father-in-law, is like, I mean, the point of the thing is that there seems to be an obsession to think that the other side is like really evil or bad, and you know, just because someone has brought up in a Republican and conservative mindset, it's like, isn't always the fact that they need to be thought of with scorn or some kind of like ridiculous level of scorn. Is that's what I see on the Twitter worlds. And like I engage in these battles sometimes, and it comes down to the people, they won't even let you like communicate with someone who they feel is like outside of the box that you're supposed to be playing in. Like once you get these fucking people on Twitter and they're like, I'll just state the guy as one example is H.A. Goodman, although he's kind of going crazy now in a few different ways. H.A. Goodman is entertaining to me. I can't handle it. You know, you get into the guys like that, or this other guy, Scott Adams. Are you familiar with either of those? I know you must know about those H.A. Goodman.
I know H.A. Goodman, but Scott Adams is new to me.
Yeah. He's a guy who I've been checking out. And like, after a while, he's a Trump supporter. And he's not like a total psycho. And then after a while, you get to the I'm looking at the video on the wrong thing, so it's messing me up. But no one, I'm keeping a monitoring the chat. Just want to bring that up for anyone. If you're on, there's a couple people watching, please feel free to chat.
Well, I pulled it up on YouTube as well, so I can. And if you're doing that, well, then we know we at least have 2 watchers.
What you do, we'll look for 3. We're looking for 3. But what you do is you pick a Sunday morning early time where absolutely nobody would ever attend. But I know I tweeted out that the time was here. Oh, I know who I was thinking would drop in is, of course, Joseph Ballin.
Oh, yeah.
He's in Texas or something, though, so it's even earlier for him. I think he said he was in Texas. But so yeah, well, I was just saying that one thing I like to talk about sometimes or think about is like the level of scorn and like the inability to just discuss a logical point with somebody. And that gets into the Russia stuff that you and me and Joseph Ballin. And now for me, it gets a little into the Korea situation. Segue into an issue there. I mean, right, or any issue.
Can I kind of address the thing you were talking about there for a second, and then go to North Korea?
Yeah. Please do.
You were mentioning like this reactionary kind of, you know, treating people who have an opposing opinion, or even like it's hard for me to have kind of have people today tell me they're Republican though, and be like, really, you're still hanging on to that horse or whatever it seems like. But the best example is, do you know who Sam Ronan is?
No, but go ahead. I like hearing about these guys.
Okay, so Sam Ronan has appeared on Jimmy Dore, and he was running. He's just like kind of a nobody guy, but he was like a vet, and I think he's from Ohio, and he was running as the lead, for leadership of the DNC, right? And we know Tom Perez became the head of, right, and then Keith Ellison got kind of screwed and given kind of an honorary position. Well, Sam Ronan was one of the people running as well, and he was going on like Jimmy Dore and some other ones too. I forgot who else had him on, but talking about how difficult it was and how much the Democrats were like, really, kind of being jerks or whatever. So he kind of gave up, like after he didn't get elected or whatever, he's like, this party is ridiculous. It's shutting out progressives. It's shutting out small people. And he's like, I'm going to try something here. I'm going to run as a Republican. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take progressive ideas and I'm going to try to at least communicate them into that world, because they're not being represented at all. So why not see if we can connect, rather than people going to like Trump, who are blue collar and workers and whatnot? Why don't you try to get somebody out there who has like these ideas that would help them, and go into the Republican Party and try to communicate them, right? So, okay, I'm like, that's cool. Well, he recently got arrested. And if you Google it, he literally got arrested for resisting arrest. And it's like, why am I being arrested? Why'd you pull me over? And there's no reason given. So right now he's in jail, which is ridiculous. But when I saw it on Twitter, the response, you knew that these people were, I just say like liberal Democrats or whatever. They're like, oh, he must have been one of those Republicans. And they just jumped on his shit and like laid out a big, huge like argument out of their anger towards Trump or their Republicans or whatever. And I'm like thinking, you don't even know this dude, and you just pigeonhole them into your own the stereotype that you want to see all Republicans as. And I'm like, it's guilty on both sides. That's just really but it's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And like there's a stupid that it goes into the fucking argument that you always have to vote Democrat no matter what and stuff like that, because you're basically just you're just a two-sided coin. That's all anything is. It's just like a fucking electron. It's either a negative or a positive. It's a foolish, but yeah, I mean, so maybe we should go into ranked choice voting from there then, actually.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, because like I'm fucking psyched about it, because like, see what it does is it multi-dimensionalizes the shit, and it sends a message to people like Paul LePage, who they gravitate towards the anti, so they can get that 20-30% of diehards by being a big prick. Like everything LePage relies on is basically putting down, it's like a show of, I hate those other guys more than everyone else. And he shows how much he hates, the liberals and everybody who cares about the environment are stupid, and fucking like, he hates it so much. And I don't think you can win in a ranked choice voting system by being that guy.
No.
And I gotta say, I was so, what gets me about it too is the biggest point to me is that the Republicans in Maine is different. Let's just we talk about Democrats and Republicans in the fucking whole country and shit. But in Maine, let's just focus in on our state. The Democrats are actually all lining up in a decent manner to like say ranked choice voting is okay, along with the legalization recreation we're going through. The Democrats are lining up like good little people to me, and the Republicans are delaying, like for ranked choice voting. That's what got me the most of like what, and as along with recreational and stopping like social clubs, so you couldn't come up and have a nice reefer place where you go and smoke with other people. They shut that shit down. That was originally in the law, and the Republicans So they're really friendly to business, not. And in ranked choice, that's a thing. Like when you see them go against ranked choice voting, along with the reefer stuff, they are the hypocrites from hell. Like they can't compete. That's what they're saying. They can't compete under this ranked choice system. All they're with no like logic. They say this is just because people don't like LePage. They don't say why they can't compete under a new system. You know, if so how do they get away with lining up against this without the Democrats? Like I'm looking at this governor race coming up, and whoever gets it, oh, Joseph Ballin's in the house.
Yeah.
What's up, buddy? Oh, we could try to join in with him. I should send him the link.
You know, when you guys tweet this stuff, you should be adding hashtags to try to get it out.
That is true. I should do a lot of smart things.
I mean, I went ahead and I tweeted it out, and I put like,
there you go.
No, I put like Sunday morning is trending, so I put that. Then I put North Korea summit, politics nation, which was trending. But China, Democrats, Republican, Trump, MAGA, progressive, and I'm just like,
everything.
Pop in and want to troll us, you know.
Oh yeah, we need some action. Way to get the action going. I'll send this link to. I know I got Ballin on Twitter here, so this should be fun. Oh boy. So like, think about yeah, Joseph. I just sent you the link on your Twitter. Yeah, just think about how like they try to be so tough and they act like they're like no taxation without representation. So we just voted the second time on this fucking ranked choice, and once again we won. So I guess are they gonna go and try to turn it backwards again? You know, like they did. So I didn't even tell you the story. Cool cat. I didn't tell you the story, man. Because basically, summarized that. What was it? Fucking 2 years ago, we won the vote for ranked choice voting. Year ago, whatever it was. Then the legislature, like the Republicans in the legislature, nullified it basically, as if it's like, what the fuck? So then we had another vote just last week, and went in there and fucking beat the shit out of them again. And it was pretty cool that the voting, that the place was packed, man. And so many questions. And the question about ranked choice voting was really confusing. Unless you knew at the beginning, you're like, yes, the people's veto must be a yes. So I read it like 6 times because I didn't do my home. I knew I liked ranked choice voting, but I didn't actually research the fucking question.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm in there, oh, Jesus, reading it over and over. And I'm like, I don't want to fuck up this thing. And everyone's in there. And I look around and everyone starts talking because everyone's, just like this is a fucking homework assignment. What are they doing to us? And all these other questions, town ordinance shits and all this stuff like, whatever. These towns are out there like putting laws for reefer in effect. But anyhow, it was nuts. This guy, this white-haired dude with a white beard was standing next to me. And everyone starts talking because we're waiting in line to put the fucking slips in to the machine and the ballots. And he's like, this is the first time I voted. And he's like, he just became a citizen apparently too. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? Seriously, man? And he's like total white hair. And I'm like, you just became a citizen? Or like, what? Like, I think he might have been like off the grid or some shit. Like, and he just came into the society and got on paper. I don't know. It was weird, man. I was like, what country? Do you come from another country? He's like, nope. Just like, but he's voting. It was wild. Anyway, man, we won that again. So ranked choice voting is fucking awesome.
I mean, you're talking about like having to have Democrats to pass something or whatever. And, that's a system. And I think somebody, it was either Jimmy Dore or it was somebody like that who just pointed out the fact that, and I knew this before then, so it was nice to hear somebody else say it. But it's like, okay, you have 500 and some, House of Representative members. You have 100 actual Senate, and then those are divided, Republican and Democrat. And So if Republicans can't get something through without, you know, a couple Democrats, it's always a couple Democrats that they can find,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's not always the same Democrats because they know that they can go along with these, you know, these kind of legislation that's not popular, and they can take one on the chin to get that passed, but then they can go back and be like to their states and focus on different issues and say, that's why we need to fight because of this issue. And they get elected. And it's like, then they all just do the rotator thing where they're like, okay, who's going to vote for the policy that's not popular with the people, you know, and then we're going to go back and not talk about that when we get there, you know?
Yes. So I wonder, you brought that up, Michael. So that's smart because I wonder if I did the research or somebody could, so I'll throw it out there. It's like, what are the Democrats that sided with the Republicans to fucking overturn the ranked choice voting? I bet maybe some did. If any did, then Jesus Christ, you know, they should be fucking. But basically what's going on is the Republicans are blocking. Joseph Ballin in the house. Hello,
hey.
Joseph Ballin.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Not bad. How you doing?
Awesome, man. Nice to
Pretty
have
good.
you. Yeah. Hey. Fucking right. Joseph Ballin, legendary blogger, allthehypocrisy.com. The guy who puts up the most posts is here with us, folks. That he's the home run king. He's the blogging. Then the latest blog, Joseph. You said this North Korea deal was poppycock. It was. Let me even pull it up here on my. I won't pull it up on the video, but I'll pull it up so I see what you wrote again. Fake summit, fake peace. Allthehypocrisy.com. What do you think, Joseph? Tell me.
What do I think? I think the whole peace deal is a distraction from basically that Trump is basically pushing for a war with Iran, and that's the main takeaway. Is that, you know, we may be distracted with this particular event, but basically that Trump could very well take those troops out of South Korea and put them in Iran. So that may sound crazy, but that could seriously happen.
Yes. Well, that reminds me that whenever you say there could be World War III, people are going to call you crazy, right?
Oh,
yeah. You know? Yeah. So whenever you do anything outside of the box, you're going to be called crazy. I don't know, Joseph, do you listen to the Majority Report still, or have you gotten totally away from them?
I've listened to maybe one or two since I've stopped watching it since. So I've listened to maybe 3 or 4 since then.
And if you were to listen to one, you know what day you would select?
Yeah. Yeah, the non-Michael Brooks day.
Yeah. Wait, Joseph, one other thing, though, the day of the week, which we know is number 1, the day where I salvage humanity from the show.
Yes.
It's a Friday. It's a casual Friday. Yes. So if you were to listen, you should fast forward, find that section. And my song was... I put a Dennis Rodman in the beginning, and that was kind of a shout out to you, Joe. Right? Because this is what I say is when you think something like what Dennis Rodman was over there with the other guys playing basketball 4 years ago, right? The fucking media guy was attacking him. Do you guys see that clip? I liked it on YouTube, but it's a clip of Como like 4 years ago, just attacking, these basketball dudes and Rodman over somebody's in jail, and trying to pigeonhole them and basically say, how could you play basketball for this evil man, and all this shit, right? Are you aware of that clip, you guys?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay, no big deal. But basically, I thought it was so awesome because at one point Rodman just goes, hold on, he's just like, we're gonna suffer. We're going to take the suffering. You keep trying to pigeonhole us and all this shit, but he just goes, we're going to suffer. And you fucking, you're not doing anything. You're just fucking whatever. And in the end, he just goes, one day this door will open. And I love the way he said that so passionately, right? He's just like saying that one today I'm the one suffering today because I go and I make friends with this little fucking chubby Asian guy or whatever who's like, likes basketball. I don't talk to him about any of the wars he's in the past. Every fucking leader in the world has death on blood on their hands. That's not what I want to talk to him about. I want to fucking have a beer with him or whatever. I want to fucking talk to him about basketball. I'm evil because of that. That's what I feel like is like the world is bullshit where you can be 10 years ahead of the game and you're an idiot. You're always dumb. And then when you're proven right, you're lucky. I want to give Rodman credit on that kind of shit. It's just any leader is worth talking to. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. I agree. Yeah, definitely dialogue is worth better than bombs.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Joseph, didn't you write it? Like, what did you post about Rodman? You were kind of commending him back then when that happened.
Oh, yes. I actually did specifically talk about Dennis Rodman, basically saying that he was the only one basically advocating for peace at that time who had any real, like a platform, like outside of us, of course. And, just like in the mainstream media, basically.
Yes. It's and getting attacked for it like he's some kind of an evil guy. And this is a Brooks-like thing. Michael Brooks and Joseph, because I see the theme of what you think about, and I respect it. You always are looking out for the next war. And you're always trying to promote a peaceful, like, narrative. Like, part of our thing about all the hypocrisy is that you're being a hypocrite to give the USA, like, but basically how they act with the regime change wars and all that shit. And Brooks basically will always say that the leader is really evil. Don't forget the leader's evil. And therefore the rebels are kind of okay and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't he do that shit, Joe?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah. And you're just consistently like on him for that. And for some reason, you're a crazy bad guy. You know what I mean? Fuck that.
Well, the core tenet of my ideology is basically that countries should have self-determination. And I've come to this conclusion a while ago that that if you're a country like Syria or North Korea or Iran or anything like that, you should basically be allowed to do, you should be allowed to have nuclear weapons. You should be allowed to, do whatever you want in your country. I mean, that's your choice. And if another country wants to come in and destabilize your country because you're not obeying what the world order basically is telling you to do, like the IMF or the World Bank or some other shady, nefarious organization, or allowing NGOs like Cuba. I was just recently listening to a podcast by, I'd have to think for a second what her name is. It was, it's the District Sentinel. No, not District Sentinel. It was, I can't think of her name right now, but basically she goes over legislation that Congress passed. And basically there was one about the U.S. basically funnels money to NGOs, which are private non-government organizations. And one of the reasons they do that is so they can foster regime change. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't know this, is that after 9/11, the regime change crowd won out. Before that, the funding was actually being defunded by Congress, but 9/11 happened, and then Congress said, well, we're all on board now. Mm-hmm. So, and most people seem to forget that.
Well, few people really. I mean, the thing about it is people who end up talking about things like the IMF, which is typically what they use to fund those other countries and put them in debt, basically stripping them of resources and just leaving them with the debt. Those countries, like people who talk about that are typically like, I mean, the reason, okay, it's a long thing. Typically, they're crazy right-wing conservative people. Oh. Part of the reason that they say that focus on this stuff is usually because they consider bankers to be all Jewish or Jews, and so therefore it's really more like anti-Semitic connected. But it is true, like these banks are really like evil. You know, I mean, they just manipulate the monetary system to take advantage. And I think it was South Korea that wouldn't allow their country to take any loans from the IMF, or like yours, like kind of what you're talking about. And there was something about that too that I don't exactly remember, but was kind of disappointing to America, the upper class, like, oh, we don't get to screw over South Korea again.
So then reminded me of some ad when Trump, right before the end, Trump ran some ad that the Majority Report was finding very anti-Semitic because it had images of banks or something, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't understand, man. Like, it's hard for me to really. I know that there's a big history. I mean, everyone knows about me and how all of us in the hypocrisy world, any kind of racism is hypocrisy and shit like that, or whatever. Like, but when it comes to the different groups of people that I really worry about, the Jewish people aren't at the top of my list because they have they're doing quite well. And they seem to be very good at crushing those who, they're very self-sufficient. I'm not worried about the Jewish people. I'm worried about, call me crazy, the friggin' immigrants and the blacks. Maybe a segue here. Just everyone's talking about the kids in cages and shit like that. And amazing that like, see, that's who I'm worried about. Am I worried about the bankers being overthrown by people with pitchforks all of a sudden, like gonna get stabbed or like? No, dude, I'm not worried about those rich ass motherfuckers.
Well,
I'm worried about.
It's a disservice that there's 2 points here. You can't criticize bankers because somehow bankers have become synonymous with Jewish people, and so you're actually anti-Jewish or something. It's like that seems stupid, and just if I criticize the actions of a person, it doesn't mean I'm like, I don't know, like, or an occupation. That means I'm selecting a particular race out there. But that's, man, I don't know. It's ridiculous. Anything mainstream is ridiculous.
It kind of reminds me of criticism of Israel, that it's like you have to separate Jewish identity from Zionism, and that's what most people don't seem to really get. Even me at a very young age, because maybe it's because of my father, and he was always very sympathetic to the Palestinians compared to most Americans say that, which is why I could say personally I'm very, very pro-Palestinian. Just because the more you look up, the situation, and you just study what Zionism is, and realize that no, it's not Judaism. It's a a perversion of Judaism in a ethno-nationalist apartheid regime. But most people just don't seem to just get that idea.
No.
Yes, exactly. They don't even delve in deep enough to have the thing to. You know what it reminds? Joseph, are you also a white guy?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so here we are, the 3 white guys, right? I am also a white guy, and it's like, what about this thing? It doesn't remind you of the fucking. Isn't this thing coming up lately that I think all of us find really kind of silly? Is the persecuted white man syndrome that you see, right? So, how's that any different? The same idea, but then they're the right wingers. They're like, you're coming after the white man, dang on it! You're coming after the white man. Well, they're dang Jews, of course. They got them banks. Like it's just they're just. It doesn't make sense. You shouldn't be like, I am the most powerful group. How could you come after me? Dumb. You're an idiot, right?
Well, one of the things I've kind of thought again is that, like, okay, if we look at this North Korea thing, we look at the world stage, or if you think like Putin or whatever, I shouldn't even have brought that up, but like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that if the system that we're living in is essentially so competitive that it assumes everybody is, therefore a player, and that the tactics you will use to win, which is a no matter what it takes, that they are playing by those rules too. And so you have to assume that even the best people with the best intentions are still a part of a system where they will do whatever they can to dominate or whatever. And so therefore you have to just, disregard good intentions, or people. And it's like, well, like, how do we break that? I don't think, I just don't think it's, I don't know. But I keep seeing it. And it's like hostilities our hostilities in other countries are justified because, hey, if we didn't do it, they do it to us, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yes. It's like a survival of the fittest, world domination style attitude. And how do you say? I just think like what Joseph was saying is actually the way you just say. But if you and then what does Brooks do? This is what originally got me so just against Brooks is like I just feel like saying to him, dude, do your funny voices. But anytime you talk and on an issue for more than 3 sentences, you usually are full of shit, like for the foreign policy stuff. Because he always will say, if I said anything like I love Putin, and the more and more I am actually starting to love Putin thanks to Michael Brooks. I actually really love Putin now. I want to be like him. I will go around with no shirt on. I got my head shaved down. I got that little bit of fat, but also the muscle. And I want to get a horse. And I just want to go out and just shirtless ride around. I want to drink vodka. I want to drink good Russian vodka. And I want to, look at him. He's he's the king. He's the boss. Hey, what do you guys think about that?
Go, you can go first.
I think that sounds honestly epic, really. Just to all of us just going around like as whatever, whatever dictator or, supposed dictator that Michael Brooks hate. I could go as like Maduro or something, and I'll let Cool Cat finish that up.
I'll tell you, it's been so long since I've tweeted to Sam or Michael Brooks or Matt Leck or anything like that. And I definitely, that, like I stopped watching because I got tired of people trying to have a conversation and Michael Brooks popping in redundantly doing the same thing all the time. His bullshit, Bill Stein, his bullshit. I don't know. And then they get on their Jimmy Dore riff or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, you know what? Like you just constantly argue, or you wouldn't even like recognize points that are being made. And then you go on to something else. And I hear them and I'm like, you are literally contradicting things you've said in previous shows.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, why am I giving myself this kind of stress? So I just basically stopped watching that.
Yeah, like Michael, like a guest will come on and say the exact same thing I've been saying, but I was an idiot when I said it. But the guest, is all cool. It's like, what's that guy? I don't know. It'd be especially if it's like a black guy, Eddie Glaude or something, or like it's like they're trying to herd and control me, and not just me. Well, that's part of the thing. So if I have a song that's off the base, especially with Brooks, just it's like he'll shit on it because it's not the correct political statement. And right on, I'll have a Jimmy Dore line in there or something. And what they do with this Jimmy Dore thing, it seems to me like the definition of insanity, or like the point of arguments. Like when I have an argument or discussion, and I think we all know that we final word on Jimmy Dore was pretty well had, that he's correct in terms of if you want to compare it to Sammy, because like it's like you have an argument, the fucking argument happens before the election. You're not telling me that you can't, that it never changes, like every day, every month going forward, like after and even years later. Are you like, is that how the world, is that I just don't think that shows any curiosity or like a kind of developing a strategy, ability to develop strategies. The ability to even think like is hampered by them. And I know if you have an argument with someone, I think the best thing is to just have it and then be done with it, And then say the other person feels that way, but for some reason with them, this strategy argument turns into a like real good versus evil thing that goes on and on. That's them doing that. I mean, Jimmy Dore is not in a position to compromise. His whole point is I don't compromise. I mean, in terms of like certain things like war, listen, when it goes crazy, kind of like how we feel, I believe, is that if you give in to these fucks, then they will fuck you. So,
well, the thing about Jimmy Dore too is I don't always agree with him, and that's okay. I agree with much of what he said, and part of the stuff that got me watching Jimmy Dore was watching the Democratic primary and through the general election, and just like he was out there covering it, and it's like when he was showing, it's like, what the hell is going on, Yeah. But he's a person that's asking these questions and admitting he doesn't know. He's not an expert. He doesn't know these things. He's really like just a normal guy. And so when you hear somebody talk normal, you're like, okay, you're not assuming and you're not pretending to know everything. You correct yourself if you get new information or you're proven like, unknowledgeable. That's what people should do. Not just, well, I'm going to ignore the fact that I was wrong on something. I'm just going to just move us forward, and I'm going to find somebody stupider than me, and I'm going to just talk about how stupid they are. And it's like, well, you're not really, that's the thing. That's why, I think Sam is a pretty smart guy. I think Michael Brooks is a bad influence on him.
Yeah, I agree. So he gives him like all these word salads to make like a point, just kind of like on the foreign policy. He'll just mention like 8 different leader names and this and this
and tribes.
Yeah, he'll say on this track, tracks. He puts down everybody, and then he feels like that I said something because I put down all positions and all sides. That doesn't mean you said anything. You're like waiting in the middle of nothingness. And it took a long time for you to say it too, Brooksy.
And the worst thing too is that, like, okay, he thinks, he's like, oh, I really pay attention to the Middle East, whatever. And because I think I pay attention about the Middle East more than the average person, well, now he falls into this kind of wonkish kind of language. And it doesn't serve any purpose. Like, you're not talking to the people you're talking to. You're trying to impress them with like how much you know. And it's like, I'm sorry, I listened to Ava Bartlett talk about the Middle East because when she talks, she actually talks like a person who's telling you something, So.
Well, you guys are my go-to for a lot of that information because, well, like I see what I was talking about in some of my streams recently is like just mentioning how, like with Syria and the white helmets, you guys might have some thoughts on this, but the white helmet, especially you, Joe. Like my thing about it is that like Brooksy does that same thing, like you just said, word salads it. Oh, you like Assad? You like Assad? Assad's bad. Like okay, dude, it's Assad. What the fuck? Like you said nothing actionable. You're just saying this guy that I think this guy's good because I don't want a fucking regime change. No, shit. I guess I just fucking no. I guess my point about the white helmets is it's so crazy because it's diametrically different stories. Like Brooksy, I think is pretty much saying that the white helmets are humanitarian, like good guys. Okay. Now, Jay, you take it from there. You tell me what's up, because I could say, here's my position. I just want to put this out there: is how I could be impartial and just say, I don't know what these white helmets are. Like they definitely have sketchiness attached to them, and I don't like the whole situation. So let's pull our money out. I could say that without having to even pick one side or the other. It's just sketchy. I don't like it.
People, huh?
Exactly. So I love Assad, and I want Assad to kill everybody. Because for some reason, pulling out those weapons and pulling out our money is going to make more violence? No. Pulling out stuff make less. Joe, take it from there.
Well, you guys know Robbie Martin. I don't know if you guys follow him on Twitter or not.
Mm-hmm. Abby Martin. brother.
Abby Martin.
Yeah, he's no the brother of Abby Martin, Robbie Martin.
Oh, okay. No,
Yeah,
I
me
know
and
that.
him. Yeah, just look him up. You know, just a quick. He's a fluorescent gray, I believe the name is. But
Okay.
he always coins a term that whenever if you don't say anything bad about Assad, then clearly you're an Assadist, basically. Just like how if you didn't say
Yes.
anything bad about Saddam, then you're a Saddamist just before the second, Iraq war. And the thing about the white helmets is basically the thing is that they're not an independent organization. They're getting.
Mhm.
Recently, Donald Trump reauthorized $6.6 million to the White
Yes.
Helmets. This was June 14th, and
Yep.
coincidentally, Syria is beginning to push into southwestern Syria. Now, that's right next to the Israeli border, the Golan Heights, which was stolen
Mm.
from Israel. I mean, stolen from Syria by Israel. Now, here's the real
Mm.
kicker. If you look at a border of the Syrian civil war, ISIS, along with the jihadists, border that region. So it's
Mm.
it's just amazing, and I predict there's going to be another Syrian chemical attack, which we all know was the last two were clearly false flags. Like
Mhm.
there is no doubt about it.
You even admitted.
Mm.
It's even been admitted. Well, if you look up Robert Fisk, I mean there's a just an excellent British reporter. He actually went down to East Ghouta, and they literally said there was no chemical attack. The second one did not happen. The one before that was an
Right.
accidental chemical attack. That was when Assad attacked a chemical facility that the rebels had. This one never happened. And guess who filmed it? The White Helmets. So it all comes connecting together.
Yeah.
And we have on record the White Helmets have been disposing of beheaded bodies along with the Salafist so-called rebels. So if
Mm.
always just ask if anybody who says, "Well, the White Helmets, they're just there for humanitarian reasons." Ask them why is it they never go into Syrian government-controlled territories? Why are they always
Mm.
in rebel-held territories like uh, um, Idlib?
It's weird. Are they outwardly against the Syrian government then? The White Helmets?
They called for a no-fly zone for the regime change of Assad.
Right, right. And the White Helmets themselves, though, is that like what the like, see, because it's so confusing that I guess there's two sides of it. Let's just say the government's U.S. government side, and then what I would say is a very reasonable looking conspiracy side, a real conspiracy and then the U.S. government story. Brooksy pretty much is going with the U.S. government to say we're giving them 6 million because they're good. I know, but are they outwardly like against the White Helmets? Are they part of the Syrian government? They're like a
No,
separate,
no,
right?
no. They're opposed to the Syrian government.
So
They
it's
call
like, yeah, isn't it true that if we wanted to just put the violence to an end, we'd have to pick one side or the other or something to give our money to? Like, I don't understand why we put a third player. I guess are they a third? They could be called a third player because they're not the fucking rebels, but we're supporting the rebels too, aren't we? I guess the fucking ISIS,
I
incidentally.
I I consider basically the White Helmets and the jihadists and ISIS. They're all basically one and the same as
You
far
do
as
see
I'm
them as the
concerned.
same, right? Right.
I mean, they even have ISIS flags. They go into
Mm.
you go to White Helmet territory and they have these jihadist symbols. Of Al Nusra. Al Nusra is called Al Qaeda in Syria, so they literally have the symbols up and everything.
Wow. it's mind-boggling that these diametrically, it goes back to almost what we were talking about, or what we always talk about, these diametrically opposed freaking stories, man. Like that's almost the exact opposite story. Like we wouldn't be, man, it's very, very weird. And like, I guess I'll go to the third, like you got Brooksy, the government, and then you got you guys. And I could even be a third answer though, which just says, like I said at the beginning, this is just sketchy and I don't want to put our money into it. Like, why isn't that a normal thing to say? Now, I think it is in normal people actually, right? Normal people just say, hey, this is sketchy. I don't know about whether it's a total conspiracy. I don't know about whether Brooksy has anything true, but I don't want my money to go to something that's sketchy. It's like investing it's like throwing your money in a random thing. But
well, I would say that I think you know, when we're talking about like foreign policy and what are, like we talked earlier about North Korea, that yeah, people would probably prefer dialogue with North Korea versus bombs and nuclear war and whatever. And who's, you know, people who believe that like Kim Jong-un was going to launch his 1 to 3 nuclear missiles across the ocean at America. And if he hits, even if he hits, I mean, well, no, let's just say even if he doesn't hit and he just comes close, that country becomes a parking lot. Like he would be an idiot to do that. But what it has effectively done is caused people to talk to him. And the Rachel Maddows of the world, which I don't understand, is like trying to create this like narrative that people need to be scared of that dialogue and what we could lose by talking to what they consider to be a dictator. And I'm not trying to defend this guy. I'm not trying to say he's not a dictator. I don't really know. I've heard this stuff, but I know nuclear war isn't good for people. It's not good for us. War isn't good for us. It put us into a depression under George Bush.
Yes.
People aren't being conscious of this stuff. The reverse side is like when we do talk about foreign policy and people want to make changes or whatever, well, it goes back to what we were originally talking about. We need things like, you know, like what Jimmy said, like ranked choice voting, so we can get a person in there that actually represents us and somebody we go on to. And there was a couple things I wanted to bring up, and they're both kind of related at this point. With the DNC making it now more difficult for independents or people like Bernie Sanders to run, this is only trying to create a more well, I don't exactly know how to say that word right, but like they're just trying to secure their position and keep the grassroots candidates out of the party, because they are represented or paid for by Raytheon. They are paid for by the pharmaceutical company. They're paid for by all these things, and they know they have an agenda, global agenda, that they're trying to create. And people like Bernie Sanders or Nina Turner or whoever else that's going to buck the system, those are a threat, and they have to come up with little legal ways to make sure these people can't do it. But at the same time, they're going to profess democracy and freedom, and they're going to go over to other countries and try to say, we got to be over there to like help these countries so they can vote. It's like, fuck you. Because there's two things. We're not doing it in our own country. And second of all, and this is something I was going to bring up, I don't know if you might have saw it when I tweeted it, but Donald Trump pulling the U.S. out of the Human Rights Council. What the fuck? You can't go over there and be like, we got to stop dictatorships. No, you don't care about you, and you're putting kids into like cages.
Yes.
Countries' rights. It's like what Muhammad Ali said. They're not my enemy. You're my enemy. You're fucking fighting me and my rights here. So I mean, I agree. The world would be a better place if we could, help these countries, but we're not over there to stop Assad, not because we care about Assad. We're supporting Saudi Arabia, the worst of the worst. And then Israel, which probably going to get people calling me names or whatever, but they're doing some terrible stuff. And these are the two countries that we're going to support without any like questioning of them. But the other countries, we're going to say, you guys are the terrible ones. Like, whatever.
It's pure, dude. There's a word for Rachel Maddow, and not even a bad word. Hypocrite. It's like I wasn't. I don't even have to curse. She's a hypocrite, and that's a great word for all these people and all these concepts and what they're doing, and just us being the crazy people having the faith. Like it's like I know. I don't care what the smartest sounding motherfucker in the world says. I know at the end of the day, my country is not going to be. I'm not going to support hypocrisy. It's fucking right. It fucking, and you guys. I'm wrapping up. I got to wrap it up with a song. Fucking A. Let's wrap it up with a song, and then you guys, so you can have a moment to say some final words, and then we will go on to have an awesome day. What is that? Let's hear this song, man. You guys you haven't been listening to the Majority Report lately, so you don't know I'm on a Jim Morrison Doors kick. This is the end. Beautiful friend, the end. This is the end. Iran nuclear deal, the end. Trump calls treaties deals, the end. TV with all his meals, the end. More broken trust to heal, the end. Will they ever sign another deal again? Can you picture what will be so limitless and free? Desperately in need of a better plan. In our war-torn land, lost in a Middle East wilderness of pain, and all the Zionists are insane, waiting for the bombs to rain. There's a danger on the edge of Bethlehem. Ride the King's Highway. Palestinians are not allowed on. Ride the King's Highway west, baby. The west is the best. Take it by force and give them the rest. Trumpy awoke before dawn. Put his wig on. He took a moment to tweet something hateful, and then he walked on down the hall. And he came to a door, and he looked inside. Melania, yes, Donald, I want a divorce. Ivanka, I want to fuck you all night long. All right, yeah, all right. Oh, Ivanka, all right. All right. Happy Father's Day, Trumpy. All right, guys. Is that bizarre enough for you?
Bravo.
Oh, Jesus. Yep. Thanks, Joe. All right, man. This is Father's Day. Just to all the fathers who have passed, and fucking just remember, I miss you. I know you want me to have a great day. That's what they want. That's what our fathers want. They just want people to have a good day, good life, and be happy. And you guys have an awesome day. Thanks for joining me. Michael?
Yeah,
the man.
I think you covered it. That sounds good. Happy Father's Day.
All right, brother. Joe, thanks, buddy. Any parting words, Joe?
Anytime. This was really great. We should do this again sometime.
Absolutely. You guys are a great trio. We are a great trio, I should say. And much better than most of these other piece of shit shows out there. Less viewers. Who needs the viewers when you're this good? If you're this good, you don't need viewers, guys. Have a fucking great day, and we will. Yeah, let's do this again. I mean, I'd like to at least get on a monthly schedule. Like, let's try to make a reasonable schedule.
How about a couple things real quick here? I will say,
Yeah,
we need to hashtag better.
Yeah.
And then I would say, rather than waiting for something really, crazy to happen, we should get on and talk. I was thinking we should talk about Jordan Peterson and his people that like to, watch him religiously or listen to him.
Yeah, good idea. Because I think people like the commentary on other commentators. We're good at that. I think we're in that mode. We have the ability to do it. Why do people need to look up to these commentators and not question them so much? Question everybody, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fucking right. Hey, thanks, guys. I love it. We'll see you on the Twitter. We'll see you at allthehypocrisy.com. And let's work on our hashtag game. Cool Cat, Joe B. Peace. Take it easy, guys.
Cheers.
See you all later.
Peace.